Greetings, church. It's Kevin DUCLAIRON, and I am in Portland, still doing the ministry. I am still preaching the gospel. Let's see, I preached on the 9th, and again, I preached on, you remember the 5th? That was a message that I had given. And then on the 9th, I went out there, and I didn't intend to preach the gospel, but I think I might have gone just a little bit overboard with some of the information. At first, I was trying to raise some funds for ministry, and you know, I've been trying to complete the 2014 text. I still have not been able to finish it. I am still wrestling with that text. As a matter of fact, I just came back today from Multnomah. Actually, not Multnomah, but what is it called? Western Seminary. And I met with, I didn't meet with anybody, but I ran into a man there who is from Southern California, another Western Seminary person. And I gave him my testimony real quickly. I don't know his name. After I was done talking to him, I had to go use the potty, and then by the time I came back, they were having a class of some sort, and I went and I worked on the text again. This is the same text I've been working on for the last 4 years, and I cannot finish this text. They took control over the computer, and I was not able to do any work on it. I spent 3 hours on it. Yesterday, as a matter of fact, I went to Multnomah Seminary and worked on it, and I couldn't do it. What I basically am trying to do now is, what I did was divide the text into 3 portions, like 700, 500, 500, to see if I can complete it that way. But even then, what it did was, they took control over the text just to let me know that it's them, not me. They and I think it's the homosexual community that's doing it. I had copied the text, the first 700 pages, and that was document 1, and then from 725 or 26 to 1076, it worked. And then when I got into from 1076 to about 1529 or 1510 or something like that, after 1510, it went back to 1076. So instead of 15, 11, 12, 13, 14, and so on and so forth, it switched back. So I'm thinking, I think part of the reason why the text is not completing is because of this photograph right here. This picture right here, that's Gabriel Franklin. And that's the Haitian sex offender that's in the background with John MacArthur and Mark Rodriguez. And those people are protecting her so that the text is not sent to the Library of Congress against her. She's a sex offender, and that's her face. And also behind the same text, if you look, is a picture of MacArthur right there. That's MacArthur, that's the Klan. That's Gabriel Franklin. That's the reason why I think, and of course, right back here is how I've been sleeping on a cardboard box. I basically disclosed, and these people here are protecting MacArthur and Franklin and everything that they've been doing. So MacArthur took the information, and MacArthur will not release the text, and so it's all messed up. There's a lot of missing information. So for these months, all of these months, those are all the works that he's messed up the text. It's 1,700 pages. It should have been like 2,000 or 2,500 pages, but he destroyed it completely. And so there's not much that I could do. If I submit it to the Library of Congress, it's going to be unedited. And speaking of which, I finally did register 1st and 2nd Peter. Problem is that it took a year to do it. I had submitted 9 videos, and I thought I had submitted the other 5 for 2 Peter, but I had not, and also the text, and so they wouldn't register it. Probably that was part of the reason why they wouldn't register it. But it's finally registered. And after this 2014, as I've told you before, there's this 2016 text, and then of course all of 2017, both video and text, that hasn't even been touched because 2014 has held it back. I'm not sure what MacArthur's hiding. It's not like the church doesn't know and God doesn't know. Everybody knows. I make sure everybody knows. I was at the so the other day, when on the, I think it's like on the 9th, I went out there with this sign right here. This is the sign. American, how do I earn cash, right? No jobs, no books sold, no tithing, and no fundraising, right? I basically went out holding this. It started raining at the bottom here. It says, thank you for your gift, God bless. And then I quoted John 3:16 through 18 and John 3:7. I held this sign up and spoke to them for about 45 minutes or so, and went through there's a on the site that I have at iPage, there is sort of like an outline of some of the things that I talked about. There's like 20 things, but there's more than that. I've addressed a lot of issues, and the end result of this, nothing. They didn't even respond. And if there is going to be a response, it might be a later response, but they don't, as far as me getting any kind of funds or assistance. I lamented coming out of Western Seminary today, and I told the Lord, you made a big mistake in giving these people the liberty that they have, calling themselves Christians and living as homosexuals. Now they're adamant about their sin, and it's all about the sin. It's not even about the faith or the church or knowing Him. It's all about the sin. That's all that it is. That's all that it is. It will always be. They don't care. They don't care. They just it's unless you're in some sort of twined up in some bedding with them, they won't let you into the job place. They won't let you into the apartment. You got to have sex with the manager, sex with the job manager, sex with and probably sex with pastors too. It's terror. It's really disappointing. It's really disappointing. It's like, wow, this is what New Testament has become. It's and when it's not that sign, it's this one. It's this one here. It's this one here. It's this is what Master Seminary and Grace Community Church has reduced me to. It's right here. So I put in some applications with some hotels. None of the hotels want to hire. So this is what it's become. It's this or nothing, right? And so this. It's sort of a shock, but this is what they're doing now. And once they get a hold of your life, sex life, especially your sex life, it's sex in exchange for everything. And you can't talk about it. It's just, they got this new language where you got to figure out what they're saying, and without being straightforward about it. Because if you're straightforward about it, then I'm not sure if they're calling it a sin or they're calling it that. They're calling it something. I'm not sure what. I think it's coming from the House of Representatives and the Congress. And representatives, Guy Franklin bought into it. He's got 1,000 representatives out there. They molest me every night at the mission. They offered me an apartment out on 82nd, close to the Multnomah Seminary, but it's with a hit, with Gabriel and all this other stuff. And I'm saying, no, I won't move into that apartment, not unless she's gone. She's got to be completely removed. They won't remove her. They will not remove her. And because they won't remove her, I have this invisible blocking wall there. There's this invisible blocking wall where you can't pass through. You can't go beyond. If you try to go beyond them or back into regular day-to-day living, it's like the door is shut. can't go anywhere. So I'm not exactly sure how the year's going to go, 2018. So I preached for about 45 minutes, and then the next day, which was the 10th, I went out and I read. I went looking for work again, and I couldn't get anywhere. And when they offered me the apartment, they made me feel it. You know, there was violence. There was there was violence, and the violence, basically, management is up here now. I guess they're showing lockers, storage lockers to people, and yeah, there's a lot of violence. One of the things that I try to emphasize is, when I was talking to them, is when you first come into the faith, you know, you can replace the word. I don't know if you can see it. This is the identity of the nations, right? And of course you can replace that with, I'm African, I'm Asian, I'm Spanish, and all this other stuff. And basically the Lord takes this from us, and this is what he gives us, right? So at salvation, it's sort of like a switch, right? He takes the secular, worldly position, and then he takes and then he gives us this one instead, right? The church identity. So it's sort of like a switch. You give me your old position in the world, and I give you the new position in the kingdom. So it's a switch. It's a switch. It's a switch. Pretty much they've been out all. They're out every day, everywhere. Against. They're never for what I do and stand with where I'm at. They came out again last night. They come out every night, 2 or 3 times during the course of the night. And it's the same sexual assault. It never stops. The police department, I think the last officer I got into it with his name was Quick. He wouldn't take a report. This was like 2 days ago. And every day it's like a new response. You know, it's either you go to the police, or you preach a message, or you pray, or you got to run out to Fantasy and meet somebody there. And sometimes they don't show up. Thank God. You sit there 2 hours waiting and going, oh my God, look at this world of sin. And nobody shows up. And it's just like, yes. But then it's like they come with hits, and they want to converse, and then they insult. And this morning I woke up, I didn't go near any of it, and I held up the sign hoping for any kind of response. You know, it's like, this woman should be, if I was a prostitute, this woman should be paying for what she's doing. I went and bought myself a cup of coffee at McDonald's, and basically this was you know, across the nation, and on the West Coast, you know, just in the United States. I had drawn this map last night before going to sleep. Once you see that verse there at the bottom, right? The verse basically talks about Romans 4, 8 and 9, 7 and 8 talks about we're forgiven. We are forgiven because of the fact that that God has taken away our transgression. And I also took the time to write out the works of Jesus' ministry. This is, you know, those who do full-time ministry. This is what I should be doing. and getting probably supported by the church for it, right? Making disciples, teaching disciples, leading disciples, training disciples, shepherding disciples, loving disciples, establishing disciples as a church family, sending out disciples to make more disciples, promising. Hold on a second here. I can't read my writing, and I gotta talk with a low tone voice because I'm on the inside. Providing for disciples and baptizing them, meeting with disciples, counseling them, praying for them, reproofing them, and worshiping with them, healing, bearing disciples, marrying them, feeding them, calling disciples to the leadership, and writing lessons for them in books. These are the things that this ministry strives to be and to do, but not here, you know. So when we make that exchange with the Lord and give him our former identity, he gives us the new identity and a new man. And then this is what we on the church ministry leadership side, this is what we do. This is what we do as ministers here. And and of course this is what they're preventing, right? And this is what they're preventing from taking place. And so they slow you down every day. You can't go nowhere because they've shut every door. And it's like, all right, Lord, what are you doing here? Every door is shut. Every ministry door is shut. Every church door is shut. What do you do when every door is shut? Where do you go when every door is shut? I don't know. Not exactly sure how this is going to pan out. This is small. Can't go anywhere. Can't do anything. Can't bring anybody in here to pray with them. Can't worship in here. All that stuff that I just read you can't do in here. This is a closet where you keep stuff in bags and boxes. The ministry is outside, but then when you bring it inside, where do you go? Right? The manager of this place said that they have a room, but they don't want foot traffic. They don't want foot traffic in and out. They're charging $600 for it downstairs, but they don't want foot traffic in and out of the building. So, plus you got to put $600 down payment, and then another $600 per month, right? And it's one person, right? It's a bad ordeal. There's a lot of fake churching out there, a lot of false brothers out there, a lot of them, and they're all buying into the gay gospel. They're not buying into the Lord's gospel, the church's gospel of repentance and forgiveness and salvation. It's all about being this now. It's not much of an update, but it's what's going on. Not going really anywhere. Let's see, that's about it. I wanted to do Ecclesiastes this year and the Lord's life, but 2014 is really holding me back. I'm kind of stressing over the fact that this man is completely been this big old stumbling block, and I can't do nothing. It's just one huge stumbling block, and I can't go anywhere. And the relationships that I should have with churches. I went and visited the Westminster Portland Church on Sunday, and that was interesting. And the House of Representatives was there, and so wherever I go, they're watching. They want to be in control of everything. I would caution you know the difference between your relationship with the Lord, your relationship with the church congregation, and your relationship with those that are not Christians. They're three separate relationships. Your relationship with God, your relationship with the body, and your relationship with the world in the congregation. And when they come as representatives, House of Representatives. They're not saved, they're not born again, but just be careful, okay? Be real careful when you go and you visit these houses. They're denominations. There's a lot for me to say, but this isn't the place and the time. So I'll give it at another time. I got to get off this thing here. It's been 20 minutes. So anyway, Father, I pray for the ministries that are being established every day in your name. That may not be real. That may be false. That may be tainted with a lot of evil, a lot of demonic activities and satanic influence. Pray, Lord God, for the protection of those that truly believes, and that you do not allow the demons and the devils and those that are of the evil spirit of Satan to restrain them and to hold them back from being able to do full ministry, because it becomes pointless, and the work is being opposed by those who do not actually practice the faith. And it is the faith that we long to practice, to bring into life again. So Lord, be with us, be with me, and be with those that are established. And I know there are some that are established, but they're not yours. And that is distractive. It's a distraction and a deception for those of us that are seeking to be established. When you walk into a house that's full of deceit and full of evil, just waiting there to take over your life and mislead you in the wrong direction. So Lord, I pray for what you've heard today, and pray for those who may be in the same situation, if not worse. Pray that you'd go before us this year and make a way. In your Son's name, Jesus, amen.